Recording. Sarah. Now, how do I make you host? That's the question of the day. Oh, Sarah.
Yeah.
I'm noticing as I'm hovering over each box for each instructor,
Yeah.
There's a mute button that comes over it, so we can.
Right, but I can't do that. Only you can because you're host. Oh
Okay.
wait, no. Never mind. You're okay. So Danny, you know what? No, I don't. I'm not able to do it. Only you are.
Okay, well, I'm making you host right now, so you should be host.
Okay, so I just.
By the way, for everyone, this is our first time. I've only done Zoom meetings one-on-one. So this is the first time Sarah and I are doing a full group meeting, so bear with us as we get this all situated and going. Meeting is recording right now, so Sarah, I believe you have hosting rights if I've done it correctly, so you're more than welcome to get started.
Okay, guys, just to let you know, you all have been muted. So you can hear me, but I can't hear you. So if you have a question or you need me to stop or repeat something, go over here to the chat box and type in your question. I just typed in the word question, so hopefully you can all see that. So I'll give you a second just to figure out how to access your chat box. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So I'm going to be doing what we call some screen sharing. The cool thing about Zoom is that I can share my screen with you, and then what's also creepy and cool is if you ever had a problem with your Canvas account, you can share your screen with me. So if you ever want to do a one-on-one, I can remotely access your screen. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my Internet Explorer, my Mozilla tab here, okay? And so what I need you guys to do really quickly here is on the right-hand side where your chat box is, can you just type in yes or no and let me know if you can now see my Canvas login page? So just type yes or no. That way we can make sure everybody can see it. Okay. Okay, so far everybody can, but not Jennifer. Let's see. What about John? John, can you hear us? Are you there? Okay, yes, you can hear us, and you can see the screen. Got it. Okay. Yes. Yep. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, so we're going to go forward here. So the first thing that you need to know is that if we go to Grossmont's regular homepage and we were to try to click on, gosh, I wish this thing would do that. There we go. Let me move that out of my way here. If we were to try to go to Canvas right now through Grossmont's page, we're not able to get in, okay? And that's because we're trying to make sure people are trained before they can get in. And so what's really important is that when you are able to get this link to Canvas, that you not only bookmark it for yourself, but if you decide to teach in the fall online, you'll need to give it to your students ahead of time as well. And Chris, you can probably know more information than I do about when the actual link on Grossmont's page will be live, but I think you told me it was going to be later this fall, maybe. So that's just something to keep in mind. So if you notice, when I come up here to my bookmarks, you can see that I have Canvas, Grossmont's instance of Canvas bookmarked so that I don't have to look for it. And you're going to use your WebAdvisor login information to log in. Okay. Now that we've logged in, the first thing you're going to see is your dashboard. And you guys can see that what I'm able to see on mine is my spring online course that I taught, as well as my 2 summer classes that I'm teaching, and our Canvas course right here. Okay. And so you can also see that I put like little pictures, images for each class. You can customize the little thing here. Okay. One of the things you guys will be able to do is you'll be able to go to the courses link here. And if you click on all courses, then what you can do is you can decide which courses you want to see. So as you can see, I don't want to look at my fall ones yet because I'm just trying to focus on summer right now. So when you have the little star unchecked, then it won't show up. But you can see I have a lot more courses than I'm actually viewing right now. Okay, so that's very customizable, which is really nice. I'm going to just check the chat to see if I'm missing anything here. Why can't we see the chat? Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Chris, I might mute you just because I can hear your typing.
Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead and mute me.
Okay, I'm going to mute you. Hold on. Okay, perfect. Okay, all right, so we're going to go ahead, and the next thing we're going to look at, oh, one other thing. You guys should have a sandbox that will be your own private practice course to play around in. So in addition to this Introduction to Teaching with Canvas course, you will be able to see a second course that you can name your sandbox, and you can basically build content in. And obviously, the more seriously you take the tasks and you treat it like a real course you would teach, the easier it'll be to just transfer that information into a real shell for the future. Okay, and whenever you're doing assignments, and now you're going to be doing online discussions in our course, but when it comes to creating like content and stuff, it's always going to be in your sandbox. Okay, basically, once we get in here, we can take a look at our course and break it down. But if we back up a little bit and we were to look at the way that these courses are organized as far as the navigation goes, I'm going to start out in the teacher mode. Eventually, I'm going to go into student mode. If I click on settings as the teacher, I will have access to the global navigation. And as you guys can see now that I'm in teacher mode, there are going to be tabs that we are graying out to keep things simpler as far as your ability to access the course. And when you teach your own courses in Canvas, you're going to be encouraged to not really rely on these ones, since it will just provide repetitive links for students and can overwhelm them. So these are the main ones that we're going to be working from this semester, okay? Couple other things. The inbox over here is where you will contact Chris and I all semester. So you just click on this inbox. It's actually hooked up to my Grossmont email. So when you message me here, not only does it come to my Canvas inbox, but it will also go to my Grossmont College email as well. And you can expect to hear back from us within 1 business day. Obviously, if you email us like Friday afternoon, then you might not hear back until Monday, okay? So when you come here, you'll be able to click new message, compose new message, select the course, and put either my or Chris's name in the box, depending on who you're trying to reach, okay? And then another really important thing is if you go to the Help tab, then you will be able to access, oh, wrong thing. Don't want comments, I want help. So all of this, the Canvas guides, the training guides are available here, and every problem you could possibly run into, there's a solution for it in these guides. But also something really helpful is that there's a 24/7 1-800 number you can call. And my students have told me they've had wonderful experiences getting issues resolved by calling that number. So those are just some important things that you can take a look at, okay? I'm gonna stop really quickly and go back to the dashboard and just check the chat to see if there's anything that I need to reiterate. See if there's any questions so far. Okay. Someone asked if it's being recorded. Yes, it is. Is there any questions so far? No? Okay. We're going to go forward here. And I just want to remind you guys that January 29th, 2018 is when we're all expected to be able to fully be using Canvas. And by the end of the spring semester, you're going to want to start, getting all of your stuff off the Blackboard and relying solely on Canvas. And from personal experience, I can tell you that it's really easy to export like quizzes and different things from Blackboard to Canvas. I've had really good experiences so far, and that was really reassuring for me. Just to kind of give you guys an overview of what we're going to be doing, there are these different units that you'll be working on, but everything is working toward a final project submission, which is going to be 2 modules, or if you're like me and you like to do a new module every week, 2 weeks worth of content completed. And basically all of the assignments you'll be doing will be built into this final project. So again, if you're trying to create everything in the context of pretending like this is a real course that I'm going to teach, everything will that you do for your final project will be able to be used when you teach in Canvas, and it will save you a lot of time, and you'll feel much more confident using Canvas after that. And just a couple other reminders, and some of this information is posted in the Start Here unit, so I'm going to actually go ahead and access that. We are on the home page right now, and one thing I'm going to do is show you guys the student view, just so that you can see what you'll actually be seeing. But before I do that, I just want to point out that on the right-hand side, what's really cool is there's some stuff here that reminds you what's coming up. So whenever you have an assignment coming up, you can just check here, and it helps keep you on track, okay? When I access the student view, it'll show you guys what you're going to be seeing. Okay, so now we're in student view. So when you guys first enter the course, the Teaching Canvas course, we have a welcome home page. And Chris has created these buttons that basically link you up to different things. So for instance, if you click on the announcements, there's no announcements yet, and so there wouldn't be anything there yet. But a really important one would be the syllabus, right? And so when we click on the syllabus, not only does the syllabus have a link where you can download it to your computer, but it usually will pop up in a preview mode down here as well. And it's taking a little bit to load today. I'm not sure why it's taking so long, but what's going on here? My computer seems to be lagging a little bit today, my internet. Let me see if leaving student mode helps. Oh, okay. So I'm going to leave student mode then. Okay. So this course syllabus, basically on this page we have the Q&A discussion forum where you can post questions and concerns, a link to the conversation inbox where you can message Chris and I, and then of course the syllabus, you can download it here and you can preview it here. And you're going to definitely need to read this carefully. To highlight a couple of things that you'll need to know, all of our assignments are due Fridays and Sundays. And then it does also go over what assignments are worth. And there's a reminder about time commitment. I think the time commitment is something that sometimes faculty members underestimate. And so one thing Chris and I wanted to stress is that this is a 5 to 8 hour per week commitment. And even though that might vary per person, it's something important to keep in mind, and that's not including the Zoom sessions. So you just want to make sure you do set aside time to work on the stuff. And there will be a good amount of reading to do as well and videos to watch. So logging in several times a week and breaking it up is probably the easiest thing that you can do. Overall, you will need to pass 80% of the assignments to receive the certificate of completion. And just so you know, on the one hand, you will not receive points for late work. However, if you don't submit the work, you can't move on to the next module. So you do need to complete all the assignments regardless of whether you get points. One of Canvas's best features is the course summary that is accessed through the syllabus tab. So when you go down here, you'll see that every assignment that Chris has built into this course with a corresponding due date pops up in this like sort of living document, right? And so think of it like your course calendar or your semester schedule that you give your students, but all of the links are live and they will take students directly to that assignment, okay? So this also will just keep you guys aware of what is due when for the whole 6-week course that you're gonna be taking, okay? Okay. And Chris just noted in the chat box that you also can earn 20 hours of professional development that counts toward fall as well. So that's really helpful. Okay. Okay. So when I go home, if I were to click start here, it's going to automatically take me to the first module, which is module 0. And that's what we're working on this week. So the first thing you'll notice is that there's an 11-minute video that you're going to watch that's an orientation video. And some of the stuff we're talking about right now is covered in the video, but there are a few other things that I think will be helpful, so you can watch that, and that's from the spring. And then as you navigate here, there's just some friendly reminders about things that you'll need to note for this course. One really important thing to note is that when you guys are navigating through a module, you have to sometimes mark things as done. And so, for instance, when we start here with 0.1, after watching the video and reading all the content, you'll see here it says before you go, there's a mark as done button. Now, if you go next without clicking it, then it will not let you complete the next assignment. So just be aware that you will have to check those things out. And then what's really kind of neat is when you go to the modules tab as a student, you can see here, take a look at module 0 or unit 0, see how there's a check mark. So whenever you click the modules tab, you'll be able to see how much of the module you've completed. And the check marks will just keep you on track to see so that you know you've gotten all your work done for the week in case you forgot whether you did something. Okay. Let's see here. There's a little bit of information about Chris and I on the next page. And then this part is really important. So every week we're going to have a Zoom meeting. Now in the spring, this class was taught online and then there were weekly in-person meetings. However, we figured since it's summertime, it would be better to do these meetings online. So the first one today is like a course overview. And then starting next Friday, every Friday we will have another Zoom meeting where we'll not only talk about the current unit that we're working on, but we'll also talk about the upcoming unit, okay? Now, while these are not required, they're highly recommended, but Chris will be recording all of them, and within about a business day, they should be made available to you so that if you did have to miss it, you can go watch them afterward. So starting next Friday, June 23rd, they will be every Friday from 10 to 11:30. And then usually the Thursday before, we will send you guys out an announcement link with the Zoom meeting information so that you can join the Zoom, okay? And then one really important thing is you guys can go into your own personal settings, into your own account, and you can access your notifications preferences, which I can briefly show you guys how to do. So if you go to your account and you go to settings, the first thing you can decide is, do I only want my email address or do I want to add my cell phone? Some instructors really like to get notifications on their phone. I personally don't want things going to my phone, so I don't have a cell phone listed. But if you did want to add it, you could. And then you would go up to notifications, and you can see here that it only has my email. It doesn't have my phone number listed. And then what's really great is for every single aspect of the course, you can decide how you want to be notified. Do you want to be notified immediately, a daily summary, a weekly summary, or not notified at all? So if you're a student in a course, you might want to know that a due date is coming up right away. Whereas, and same with announcements, you might want to hear about that right away. However, other things you might not need to know right away, okay? And so if your teachers uploaded new content, maybe you don't necessarily need a notification. So you guys will be able to customize that, but keep in mind that the more notifications you get, the more it'll help you stay on top of the course. Okay, so let's see here. We're going to go back to Unit 0, which is what you guys are working on this week. And I'm going to show you a couple more things to keep in mind for this first module that we're working on. Okay. One thing I really like about Canvas is that it, as you can see, it helps students navigate through your content sequentially instead of just this long list of links they have to click on. And so it's one of the things that makes it really effective for students and instructors. Okay, so your first assignment, which is going to be due, I think, Friday, is that you're going to reply to the discussion. And this is just an introductory discussion. And so you'll notice here that there are very specific directions. Introduce yourself, provide 3 statements, include one that isn't true, and then talk about why you're taking the course and what to expect out of it. One really important thing for you guys to know is that when you encounter an assignment, if you click up here, you can actually view the rubric beforehand. That way you know how you're going to be graded. And for this first discussion, as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. You either posted an introduction that fulfills the requirements or you didn't, right? And so you're either going to get the 4 points or you're not. And then once you have posted your initial response and you just type right in here, then you can go back and you can reply to other students as well. Now, one really important feature that I want to point out is that replies are only visible to those who have posted it already. So it'll look blank, and then once you post your reply, you'll be able to see other students. And as an instructor, it's a good tool if you're worried that students are going to maybe copy each other or something on an assignment, or you want them to really have an original post. You can prevent them from seeing those other things first, okay? Now you'll notice as long as I'm in student mode and I did not complete this discussion, look what's going to happen. I'm going to go next, okay? And then I'm going to say, okay, there's some information here. It says, this is part of module 0 and it hasn't been unlocked yet. And the reason why it hasn't been unlocked yet for me is because I didn't do my discussion. So even though sometimes students can navigate forward, they can't access all the content until they've done things in a specific order. So I have to leave my student view and go back to my instructor view to actually be able to view this content right now because I didn't do the discussion yet. And so you'll see here that there's a little thing on netiquette, which is really nice, just to kind of remind students what to think about. And then when you go to the next one, we have one more assignment for this unit, and this is creating a course outline. Since your final project is gearing up toward creating 2 modules, or in my case, it would be 2 weeks worth of information for a fully online course, everything we do is going to lead up to that. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create an actual course outline for 2 modules or 2 weeks worth of information that everything we do is going to fit under, okay? And so when you're thinking, well, what does that mean? What does a course outline mean? I'm going to bring up a copy of my course outline that I used this past semester in spring for my English 120 class. And so I'm going to bring that up, and hopefully you guys can see that. So could you go ahead and type into the discussion, yes or no, can you see Sarah's English 120 course assignment schedule from spring 2017? Okay, great. So take a look at what I have going on. This is what I did in spring. So if I were in this class right now with you guys, then what Chris and I expect from you is to basically do something like this, where it's like, here's 2 weeks or 2 modules worth of information. I personally, the way that I do things in my online class is every week they have a new module or a new unit. And you can see that I actually like give a theme to each week. Like week 1 is course introduction, week 2, writing fundamentals, week 3, avoiding plagiarism. I know for this class, we use Fridays and Sundays for our deadlines, but in my online class, I do Wednesdays and Sundays. And so you can see that for my course outline, I have the very first thing for week 1 is I want my students to review the Canvas student getting started guide. Then they're going to, of course, they're going to read the syllabus, and I'm going to have to include a syllabus in my course. And you guys are all going to have to be able to upload a syllabus as well. And then I actually created a quiz that helps show them whether they got the important information out of that syllabus that I wanted to. So I ask them things like, when are my office hours, and things like that. I also have a little netiquette infographic that I show my students. And then that leads them up to their first discussion where, like our course, they have to introduce themselves. And then I give them until Sunday to respond to 2 classmates. And then they have to fill out a student success survey. And then week 2, we start getting into more course content like MLA formatting, introduction to college writing PowerPoint, stuff like that. And eventually they'll start reading the textbook. So I just thought by providing this course outline for my course, you guys could see what we mean when we say, this is one example of when we say you're going to do 2 modules, you could do 2 weeks worth of content. And that's what we're working toward for the final project. So in order to know what we're going to create, you need to start with the actual outline of what you think what are they going to be doing for each of those modules or weeks, okay? Are there any questions about that? Oh. Okay, so the course outline assignment, got it. Okay, Chris, I'll go back to that right now. So if I'm on the actual assignment and I'm looking at the directions, be really careful about this. Sometimes there's more to it than it seems. Like we might think, oh, that's it, right? But you got to check for the scrolling to see if there's more information. And so sure enough, Chris did include an example Canvas training course outline. And again, not only could you download it, but if you don't want to download something, Canvas offers this feature of embedding files as well. So we can see that there. I'm going to go ahead and just scroll down a little bit so you guys can see. So this is just an outline of our course to give you guys an idea. Okay, so you can take a closer look at that on your own. And again, if you're in student mode, you can check the rubric out from this tab up here usually. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. One thing we wanted to point out is that you might want to set up a bookmarking account just because you're going to get a lot of links and really useful information. So Chris provided some popular tools you could use to manage your bookmarks. And then in all of the modules, there's lots of videos available that are great tutorials that kind of walk you guys through like how to check your grades, how to create an assignment, things like that. So do make sure you watch those before you attempt to do something. Watching them while you're doing it is not recommended. Okay. Okay. Good question, Jennifer. Okay, good. Okay. All right, so you can see that basically once we get through unit 0, it'll just automatically funnel us into the next unit, unit 1. And you guys will have access to unit 1 starting this Friday. So you guys are gonna get access to the following unit the Friday before, which gives you a full week to work ahead if you wanted to. That way you have the weekend, okay? I'm going to stop here just for a second and check my notes because I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Let's see here. So, if we go back to the syllabus tab, I just want to remind you guys about our Friday due dates. Technically, each module starts on a Monday, so unit 0 starts today, but you have until Friday to get things completed. And then again, as of this Friday, you'll be able to look at unit 1 and so on and so forth. One thing I forgot to mention that Chris really wanted me to mention to you guys is that you have to be very careful about the browsers that you're using. For Canvas, the only browsers that are recommended are Google Chrome and Firefox. Do not use any version of Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge, okay? So that's one thing that's important that you and your students should be aware of. Okay. Oh, right. So Chris, you're talking about this numbering convention. Let me show you guys what we mean by the numbering convention. So when there's a module, notice how each element to the module is numbered. So if it's unit 0, the first content page is 0.1, this next content page is 0.2, and so on and so forth. Same with unit 1. This is really useful for students when it comes to navigating. It's like a very logical thing to do. But also, if a student's having a problem, it's really easy for them to say, hey, I'm having a problem with 1.4. And then it's very clear what they're struggling with. So we really recommend for your course outline when you're creating 2 modules to use some sort of numbering system like this, where you have a unit, or it could be week 1, right? Or so for me, I don't do 0, I start with week 1. So then all my stuff looks like 1.1, 1.2. Hopefully that made sense. Couple other things to be aware of. I know I already pointed out that even though late work will not be awarded points, it's still required that you do all the assignments in order to get to the next module. But also, if you remain inactive for 2 weeks, you will be dropped from the course. If at any time you guys feel like you need to drop the course, talk to Chris about that, and he can talk to you guys about that, okay? Okay. let's see, we've already started. Oh, okay. Our book has sections within each unit. For example, unit 1 has sections 1, 2, 3, 4. They number at 1, 2, 1, 3. What is your recommendation to number in Canvas? That's a good question. So are you gonna, is the book online embedded in the course, or are you just talking about when you're telling your students which sections to read? We'll come, okay, the book is not online, the students have, okay. I see what you're saying. That's a good question. That's probably something Chris and I might have to think about a good solution to that. Because I see what you're saying. It might be confusing for students with the numbering. So I would say, let us get back to that one. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I think I'm about ready to go over Unit 1. So Unit 1, again, it's not quite available to you guys yet. It will be available Friday, but we're going to go over it together because there's a few things that I really want to point out to you guys. Okay, at the beginning of each unit, we have this great overview of the objectives, what you're supposed to be getting out of the lesson, and all of the required content that you'll be accessing, okay? As you are navigating through the unit, again, we will have a Zoom meeting the Friday before the content's available, or Friday before it's due, right? Just so we can talk about it. And so you can see here that this stuff is due next Friday, almost 2 weeks from now. So there will be a Zoom meeting to kind of go over that the day that it's due. Okay, and we'll send the notifications for that out later. Here's one thing we really wanted to go over. We are not using a textbook for this course, so all of your content is embedded using Canvas tutorial guides and such. So one thing you got to make sure when you get to the instructional content is that you're reading every single tab. See how there are 4 tabs here? So the first thing is, what is Canvas? You know, you're going to check all this out. When you get to the next tab, we want you to make sure you're reading through all of these links. Now, that doesn't mean that when you click on a link, you have to read everything in it. We just want you to be aware that these are here and what they're supposed to do. So for instance, we gave you guys access to the Getting Started with Canvas as a Student guide. And if I click on it, as you can see, there are tons of different things I could be reading. So when we assign this here, we're not saying that you have to go here and read every single thing. We just want you to peruse it and make yourself familiar with it so that later, if you run into an issue, you know how to find the help for it, okay? So that's really important there. And so we have the student view, we have the instructor view, okay? And then rich content editor. So one great thing about Canvas is you can use the rich content editor to embed content. It's way more user-friendly than Blackboard because a lot of times students don't have to navigate outside of Canvas to watch a video per se. So again, when you guys are learning how to do something, definitely make sure you watch the video and possibly take notes before you try doing it on your own. If you're trying to watch the video while you're doing it, it usually doesn't work out very well. So for Unit 1, that's the first thing you guys have to do is just kind of navigate some of these tutorial guides for Canvas, really like try to familiarize yourself with as much as you can. And then you would go on to the next thing here. And one of the first assignments in Unit 1 is to edit your profile, okay? You can do some cool stuff. I'm gonna open up a new tab here and show you guys mine. For instance, not only do I have a picture, which makes things a little bit more personable, but I have a little biography. And then also I created a hyperlink to have them contact me via the conversations inbox will automatically link them up to that inbox. And then I even have a little hyperlink here so that they can check out my faculty page, which, as you can see, has not been updated yet since spring of 2017. Okay, but you guys can also add tools, which is really cool. Some teachers like to add their Twitter account, their Twitter link and stuff like that. So you're welcome to do anything that you feel comfortable doing, okay? And so that's one of the first things you guys are gonna do for that. And again, there's a video here that will help you guys complete the assignment. Now, one really great thing about the videos that Chris has posted here through Screencast-O-Matic is that you can watch the video here, or if you need to, you can click on the link, and there is a transcript of the entire video as well. So this is you know, really helpful if you need to read and you don't want to watch it or you can't watch it, okay? So that tutorial video will be very helpful for you guys, okay? And again, you can see the rubric. There's always a rubric that shows you guys what you need to do, okay? And the way that we grade stuff, sometimes you'll be providing us with screenshots, sometimes you'll be giving us links, but Chris and I both will have access to your sandbox so we can see what you're doing in there, in that account. Okay, so here, in this particular one, you're going to be providing us a URL to your profile once you've changed that, okay? Okay. All right. Okay, so after editing your profile, the next assignment you'll be doing is learning how to add an announcement in your sandbox course. So again, the instructions are always here. There's a video that shows you how to do it. Okay, there's also a link of a Canvas instructor guide on how to do it. So lots of resources here for you guys to walk you through these assignments, okay? And then we also have some quizzes that just kind of make sure that you guys got the content we need you to. And you can take the quiz as many times as you want until you get 100% on it. But definitely it'll help make sure you also feel comfortable moving on with the material, okay? The quizzes are graded automatically. Okay, and then like every week, we'll have another discussion. And the discussions are great because teachers can really talk about, you know, their initial impressions, things like that. What are you already noticing about Canvas that will help you in your teaching, things like that, okay? Okay, and when you get to the end of the unit, it basically, there's always a friendly reminder of what you were supposed to have gotten out of the unit, right? And again, when you're finished with the unit, if it's unlocked, you'll be able to just automatically go to the next one. But in this case, I'm in instructor view, so I can see content that you guys can't see yet, right? Okay, I feel like I've covered about everything that I had on my outline here so far. And so I'm going to stop, and I think this is going to be a really good time to do some Q&A. Let's see here. Chris, you can tell me if there's, oh, let's see. Please emphasize the resources section under the video for the assignment that's required reading. Thanks. Okay. Okay, Chris wanted me to, wanted me to highlight something really quickly here. So for instance, when you're making, when you're learning how to create an announcement, don't forget that in addition to the video, there are these resources that link you to the Canvas guides. Okay. Are there any questions so far that Chris hasn't answered yet, or that I can answer based on everything we've done? Here, I'm just going to unmute you, Chris, because I'm not really sure what you're asking. Chris, you're unmuted, sir.
Oh, you can hear me now?
Yeah, I just unmuted you, but I'm not really sure what you're asking me to do, so I'm just going to let you say it.
Oh, you already did it. So the only thing that I
okay.
wanted to communicate with a course is that anytime you're reviewing the actual assignments, anything under the resources section for that assignment would be required reading. Do you think right now, since you feel like you're pretty much done with the, there's another question that just came in. Question from Lynette, are all of our assignments and discussions to be posted in our sandbox? The discussions that you create or that you'll reply to will be conducted in the Introduction to Teaching with Canvas course. All hands-on assignments will be done in your GC Canvas training sandbox. So if you were to go back to your dashboard, you should see a sandbox there that says, Sarah won't have it listed for hers.
Right, I don't have one anymore.
You will see one listed that says GC Canvas Training and then your last name. That is the course that that is the sandbox that you will be using to complete any hands-on assignments in the Introduction to Teaching with Canvas course. And since we're done, or since you feel like you're at a stopping point with your presentation, do you think it might be wise to unmute it so we can all,
sure.
we can freely, people can answer questions?
I will unmute everybody. Let's ask some questions if you have them.
Where's the resource area for each assignment?
Well, every time you guys have an assignment, and I'll just go to one for an example to show you. Anytime you have an assignment, there's always going to be individual resources.
So if you can click on the add announcement, or which one over there, assignment, that would be a good one to work with. So click on modules.
Yeah, I don't know why it keeps, here we go. Okay. So I will go to this one. So when you have a hands-on assignment, in the directions, there's an overview and instructions. There's always going to be a video that will actually walk you through how to do the assignment. And then underneath that, Chris has provided the corresponding link to the Canvas instructor guide, the chapter from that guide that goes over that particular thing. So in other words, you have the directions from us, a video that walks you through it, and an actual tutorial from Canvas, several different ways to kind of take in that information on how to create an announcement.
So if my course has, currently in Blackboard, it has a resource section that are things that are helpful for the student for the whole semester,
right.
Not each individual lesson,
right.
Where would those go?
One thing that we're trying to encourage with Canvas is to not sort of have these extraneous, like lots of different tabs, which can weigh down students. So Chris, I know Chris was, so is this for an online course or an in-person course?
It's an online course, and there's 3 software applications that they use. So for example, it's the Zoom login to download, to learn how to download Zoom. So that instructions, where would I put those? Because those aren't set for a specific unit. They're for the whole semester.
I would recommend putting them in your getting started unit, like the first week's unit.
So if a student, so there's an online tutoring service. So if the student, if it's in that unit and we're 2 months into the semester and all of a sudden they need tutoring, how would they know to go back there to find it?
I mean, would you be recommending the tutoring, or is this something they're self-selecting?
They're self-selecting. So currently right now, there's It's in the left navigation panel. It's
Right.
always there.
It's a
Every time they're
content
in there,
folder.
it says Zoom, so they can see it. Where if by putting it in Unit 0, 2 months into it, if they didn't know where it was or remember that it was there.
So let me step in there. So Jennifer, how many key links or resources would you be referring to students overall?
I can think of at least 4.
4. What you could do is on the home page where Sarah's at right now, the home page is a great place for students.
Good point.
You can post those resources there as well.
You could do, yeah, like maybe you could do a resources right here if they're ones that they're going to do over and over again.
Okay.
Because my only other recommendation would just be that, like, if you have this really clean navigation system over here, then they know that, like, aside from the syllabus or the homepage, the modules tab is going to be the only place to find stuff, right? And you can see that, you know, it's pretty easy to see stuff, you know, especially if they remember it's from the beginning of the semester. It'll pop right up for them. Do you know what I mean? And like right here. So, but I think that Chris's recommendation is really good to do a homepage link.
And also, let's talk about the navigation. Sarah, if you could leave the student view real quick.
Sure.
Click on Settings. And then on the navigation tab that Sarah's on, you will see 2 boxes. This is where you can customize your menu. You can add sections. Obviously, you in Canvas, you can't create links and stuff like that as freely as you were to do in Blackboard. But there are things that you can add and subtract from your menu. Now, the key items that we do not want to see, if you could hover over those items in the course menu of your course, is the assignments section, the assignments, pages, quizzes, and files. Those are things for your own personal use. The only ones in black, all coursework should be a single point of entry for your course, would be in the modules section. That's where students would access your work. However, there are other items that you can use. There was a question from Irene Palacios in the chat. I don't see it in yours. Where is it? Pearson is, we also have certain things from like McGraw-Hill, Cengage, and Pearson, My Lab and Mastering. Those other features that you can sit there, you can also add to the top of your menu as well. There is also, and I don't see it in Sarah's course, but there is also a link available to NetTutor for anyone that has any online tutoring stuff. Jennifer, do you know much about NetTutor and if they provide any services for ASL students?
No, they don't have any ASL people. So the college has been kind enough to contract with a different company that has ASL tutors. So we use a company called dudits.org.
Yes,
it's a college place for that tutoring. So I don't know about net tutoring. And
then for your specific situation, Jennifer, I also, Jeannie Gould asked about that, and I showed her how to add that information to that link. So we can talk offline, and I can cover with you how I specifically customize that for your department.
Okay, and then also, why wouldn't you want to use assignments?
Okay, so if you click on the assignments section, well, I'm taking over. This is Sarah's show. If you want to,
okay. I think we're in agreement in the fact that it ends up being redundant for students when they have like a million different tabs. They can feel overwhelmed by that. And for most of us, the assignments are turned in sequentially, so there's not really a whole lot of reason for them to want to access stuff, especially if it's past due. It won't even show up anymore for them. Do you know what I mean? Like, so for my class, if it's an essay or a quiz that's past due, it won't even show up on this tab. If they have upcoming assignments, they can always go to the syllabus tab and use that course summary. And again, there's live links to everything that's upcoming, right? So to us, it seems redundant to also have it here, if that makes sense. And I think one thing we're trying to do is have more consistency among us instructors, so that the fewer navigation tabs there are, the less overwhelmed students will be by options. I can find this thing like 5 different ways. Sometimes that's overwhelming when there's too many ways to access stuff.
And to add on top of that, Jennifer, in the modules section, you know, as you noted, you heard Sarah talk about there are certain requirements. You have more control in the module section on how you want students to view your content. So there were, you know, she mentioned, you know, if we're looking at the Unit 0 module right now, you'll see there are certain requirements like the mark is done, review, I'm supposed to contribute. You can set specific requirements on what a student needs to do for each item before they move on to the next item. Also, you have the ability to control when each module will be released. And you don't have that control in the assignment section. So that's another reason why we wanted it through the module section.
Right. See how if I'm in student view, which is what you guys can see, you can see the Unit 0, but Unit 1 is not available yet.
It's all grayed out. So so as an instructor, we guarantee that with the settings that the module section provides, that you're going to go through the content in the manner that we want. And you have that same control for your course as well. Does that make sense, Jennifer?
Yeah, in some courses I've been in, having an assignment area that I've been in as a student, having that assignment listed separately has helped me greatly. So that's why I was curious why it was suggested not to use it.
Mm-hmm. Well, every course is going to be designed differently, but specifically with Canvas, the key issue is the more doors you open for students to access your content has confused students. So that's why we wanted all assignments, all course reading, everything that's required be done in the modules section to provide that single point of access so students don't get so confused on how to navigate the course, because we want students to pay more attention to your coursework and not figuring out how to access Canvas.
Last semester, so in my course right now in Blackboard, I just release one module at a time. They're not all available.
Right.
I had a student drop my course because he was not able to see everything for the whole semester.
Well, you can in Canvas. You just, like I told you, you go to syllabus and then look at how they can see everything.
In the course
they can't do it yet, but they can see everything. And I feel like that's, if that's not good enough, then I don't know what else.
It wasn't,
right?
It wasn't, but it was interesting.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny because I get it. There's always going to be that student who wanted a certain way. I mean, for me, my biggest problem is students wanting to work ahead. Like a self-paced course, and I tell them, I'm like Chris. I say you get it 1 week ahead of time, and that's it. You know?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions so far?
If I leave my assignments open till the end of the semester for them to turn them in late, but at a decreased value, how do they just go back to where it was in the module?
Yeah, one cool thing about Canvas that I like that I never noticed on Blackboard is when they submit an assignment late, when you're in grade mode, it will show you this red submitted late thing so that you can differentiate between students who submitted on time and not, and you don't have to date check constantly. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Which is really cool. But yeah, you would just basically what you would do is when you're creating your modules, you would choose, because if you create a module, when you're editing and you're making decisions, you decide like, I want to unlock it at this date, but you can also, you know, say I want it to relock and disappear, or individual assignments can, you can tell them, when you're creating an assignment, it'll give you a couple options. It'll say, when is this assignment available and when is it due? So you can say the due date is June 18th, but go ahead and leave it available until, you know, September 1st.
Okay.
So there is a way to do that for sure.
Okay.
Also to keep in mind, Lynette, when assignments are available for an extended time period. So for example, all of my assignments, once they are made available, they are available until the end of the course, which is July 21st.
Right.
However, in your case, you might have in your course for Unit 0, you might have an assignment that might be available until the end of the week, this Friday. For that extended period of time, students can resubmit that assignment as much as they want. So if you wanted to control the time as far as how many times they can submit the assignment, I would suggest narrowing down that availability date. And by the time we get to, I believe it's Unit 4, we go into detail on how the assignments work.
Okay.
And how to create the appropriate settings for that.
Yeah, like for me, if I told my students they couldn't turn an essay in even one day late, they probably couldn't pass my class because the essays are weighted so much more heavily. So it's like, for me, a quiz cannot be taken late. That disappears. But I'll leave the essay open for 2 weeks. Now, I wouldn't leave it open longer than that, because I don't want them submitting stuff 8 weeks after the fact, because that's not effective for my particular content area.
Right.
So I usually, like with major assignments, like an exam or an essay, I give them like a week or 2 at the most, and they will get, points deducted, but it will be available past the original deadline.
Okay.
Any other questions? These are good questions, guys.
Also, with the link that we had, so as I don't remember if Sarah covered this at the beginning, so the address and stuff like that, as Sarah pointed out, it's not available on the Grossmont website as of yet. It will be by the end of the fall semester. We want to ensure, number one, not to confuse students on whether or not they should be using Blackboard and Canvas. And number two, we want to make sure that faculty that have not obtained some form of training get some form of training before they're accessing Canvas.
Okay.
So that login information, the address, web advisor username, 8-digit birth date, that is something you will want to provide to your students in your syllabus or any initial communication. I don't know if you do like a welcome letter or
would you mind if I showed that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I can show you guys a welcome letter I just sent out today to my 2 English 120. Well, actually, I sent it Friday, actually, initially. I let my students into the course early, and then I resend it today. And so let me show you guys the welcome letter that I sent. Okay. So check this out.
And before you get into that, Sarah, I'm gonna step out and run to the restroom real quick.
Okay.
Right back.
No worries. Okay. So can you guys see this welcome letter that I just posted? Can you just type yes or no? That way I know, or say it. I'm sorry, you guys are unmuted. You can say yes out loud.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
So I sent this to my students Friday for my English. I'm teaching 2 sections of English 120 fully online 8-week courses that started today. So I let them in on Friday, and then usually I have to send it again Monday, because usually my roster's actually changed by now and people have dropped and added. So I'll send it again today. But this welcome letter, I learned how to make this when I took the teaching how to teach online course here at Grossmont through @1. And there were some recommended things we put in. So I have like, what is the first day of the course? And then I actually gave them where to log in. And I set up here, I'm excited, we're using Canvas, we're not using Blackboard. And then I recommend here that they bookmark the following links. And so I actually had to give them the link to log in right here. So, because again, they can't get into your course without it. Now, if you were to go into Blackboard, or if they were going to Blackboard, they wouldn't see the course showing up. And so then some of them might end up emailing you saying, well, where do we go? But if you send that ahead of time, like a few days before the semester starts, it cuts down on the students who are confused about why the Blackboard isn't showing up on their end, because you're like, well, I'm not using Blackboard. I give them the student guide to start perusing. I have a little link to the DSPS. I have my office hours, how many times a week I think they should log in. Since it's an 8-week summer course, it's a little bit heftier of a workload, so I let them know ahead of time, this is what you could expect to spend on my course. When the dates that their assignments are due, I let them know that they need to be able to manage these types of files, their book, including the ISBN number, and then, of course, the last day when we're having our final. And then this is a really cool thing, too. It's through the chancellor's office, I think, and it's basically a little online readiness quiz too, just to say, hey, maybe take this quiz and make sure the online course is right for you. And then I have at the end, of course, my my contact information. So I emailed my class this on Friday, and what's kind of great is by today, 2/3 of my students have already figured out how to log in without, and not one of them has asked me, by the way, oh, what do I do? They've all figured it out. So it's really great. And I haven't had any problems yet at all with students not, like the 1 or 2 times last semester that I had issues, like students that I couldn't help, where they were like, hey, how come I can't view your comments on my grade or something? I recommended my students, I always recommend students take screenshots of stuff. And then if I still can't help them, that's when I tell them, like, okay, call this number here. And both times I had to tell my student to call it, they said that they helped them in like 5 minutes resolve the issue. So I've heard great things about the Canvas helpline. And then one other thing I'm going to show you guys that I personally recommend, some software that I like, is called Snip, and it's free. And I'm going to show you my desktop. So I use this thing called Snip, and what's really cool is it opens up a little tab up here, and then I can take screenshots really easy. I can capture stuff, and so I click there, and I'll say, I just want to screenshot this, and then it does it super fast. I can make edits to it. I can save it. And I always tell my students, if they have an issue in an online class, go ahead and screenshot the problem, and then that I can help you with it. And then sometimes, like I said, we realize we can't help them, and that's when it's something beyond our control, and that's when we refer them to the 1-800 number if we have to. And that's usually because it's their internet or something going on.
So for any technical issues that faculty or students experience, they need to call that number. And take note, there is no on-campus support for Canvas in regards to students. They can't go to admission and records if they have any login issues. And in the tech mall, whether they go to the tech mall or the admission and records, they're going to refer them to that number anyway. So that's going to be something for students to actually need as well. And then for faculty, again, technical or login issues, call that number. And then, normally when you work with myself specifically, you work with me as far as figuring out how to design your course or how to specifically do something based on a specific situation in your course. But if I'm not instantly available to answer your questions, feel free to call that number and they will be able to help out as well.
Any other questions?
So the link for Canvas for Us is in the email?
I'll resend out, after this, I'm going to send out another note. Once I get this video posted and everything else, I'm going to send out another mass group email to the entire course. It's going to have the link address and a specific guide on how to access Canvas for instructors, and all that information will be done. It'll be sent out by the end of the day.
Okay, thanks.
By the end of the day. So, but as you wait, and if you're still thinking about what questions you ask, so as Sarah has on the Unit 0, the first thing would be is to review that welcome page. Watch that 11-minute video because it goes through again. I don't know if we, went a little. If you felt like we went a little fast, you're more than welcome to watch the video again here. It gives an orientation on how the Canvas interface works and how to navigate the actual course. Take part in that discussions introductions for this week, and then complete your course outline. It was for the 0.7 assignment. All of those, the key assignments will be due on Friday by 11:59 p.m. And then on Friday, the 16th, Unit 1 will be available to you at 8 a.m. on Friday. And then you can always go to the course syllabus section under the course summary to see the entire schedule. So our next Zoom session for it will cover Unit 1. That will be on Friday the 23rd from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m.
And that way, if you guys are struggling and you still have time before to do at midnight to kind of talk about it and stuff, and then we'll preview the following unit as well.
So if you could click on the calendar in the global navigation, Sarah. Not in the course menu, the purple bar. Refer to the purple bar.
Oh, got it.
Click on the calendar. So as we're looking, we're June 12th right now. So June 12th is the start of Unit 0, the orientation. All coursework is due on the 16th for Unit 0. Unit 1 is available at 8 a.m. So you have, while the official Unit 1 officially begins on the 19th, Unit 1 is made available on the 16th to give you the weekend to get a head start on the assignment if you have other obligations during the week. And then as you can see, on the 23rd, you see what is due for Unit 1. So I just want to make sure that was clear on how the assignments actually work.
So on the calendar, the 23rd, where it says Zoom, Unit 1, Introduction to Canvas.
Right.
Is that these orientations?
Yes. Well, today is an orientation. So what we do.
Well, I meant these meetings.
Mm-hmm.
So how we do this is once the unit actually gets started, so on unit, well, even with Unit 0, but Unit 0 is pretty light. Once we get into the actual units 1 through 4, Sarah and I will be watching the actual course, what you specifically talk about in the discussion boards, how assignments are actually submitted. We're going to be noting any red flags that we see. And those red flags, any any misunderstandings with specific features in Canvas, we talk about those on the Friday session. And then we prepare you for the next unit coming up and what to be aware of for the expectations for the following unit. That's what those Zoom sessions are. And then we also talk about if you're having any issues with your final projects, we address those there. Because there's a lot of questions as you go through the course. Sarah, as she attended this course back in November, the course provides a lot of information. However, you still have additional questions as it relates to your own specific course. So we use these sessions, these Zoom sessions, to address those questions that are not addressed in the actual course content that you'll be reviewing. Any other questions regarding that?
I'm not sure you can hear me, but
I hear you, Terry.
I'd like to know if there is a tutorial for students, or how does a student get started in Canvas?
One of the things, Sarah, if you could go back to the introduction of course and click on our course, go on to modules. And in Unit 1, under the instructional content section, there is a tab there, Canvas from the student view. I've done 3 sources. I've taught this course 3 times so far since November. Sarah, again, was the first one to take part in it. What faculty members have been doing is providing this information to students. So if you click on the Getting Started with Canvas as a Student, there's information here on how to use the dashboard, what are assignments. Click on the How do I use a dashboard as a student so they can actually see the guide. You can see it's step-by-step guide. It follows a lot of formats. If you've received any guides from me, I know Jennifer, I send Jennifer a lot of guides. It follows the same easy format on how to do specific things in Canvas. And most instructors, we've had about 10 instructors teach for the spring semester. I haven't received any personal complaints of any issues with students using Canvas. So the information that provided there was beneficial. Also, I encourage anything that you see within the actual course that you feel would be beneficial for your course. Like, for example, Sarah showed that netiquette guide or the Canvas student guides. You're more than welcome to steal anything from the course that you
Yeah,
feel is beneficial.
and I would love to show you how I liked these buttons so much that Chris created that I stole them from my course. So I'll show you what my course looks like, so you can see how I did it myself, right? And so my homepage, I have a start here button that takes them to the first module. I have an announcements button that takes them to the announcements, the syllabus button, just like Chris's course, and the modules, right? And then I just have my own little image here. And again, if I was using like a Pearson guide or something, I think this would be the page to link them up to those things they might be using all semester. But and then you can see here that if you go to the modules tab, my unit 1 module, I have stuff that's similar as far as like netiquette guides and stuff.
And Sarah, as you can see in Sarah's modules as well, she uses the numbering convention.
Yeah.
In her course.
So through this course, that picture that you have and making those buttons, is that all taught in here?
You guys are going to learn how to make buttons.
The buttons, right? And not necessarily the creation of the image, because that looks like a pretty complicated image. I'm sure Sarah got that from Flickr or some other resource, but we'll show you how to embed any images and stuff like that.
Okay.
And that's also another reason for another reason to attend these Zoom sessions.
Because we can show you how it's not. Chris made a really awesome tutorial that made it super easy to create them. But basically, that's why the rich content editor is so great, because you can just hyperlink stuff up. You can link it up to other things in the course. And so it's really easy to do, which is why it's so much better than Blackboard.
A lot of what you'll read in the course will give you a basic overview on how to do specific things, but in the Zoom sessions, we go into further detail on those key items that are important to you, like those buttons, those images.
I think one thing I really like about Canvas more than Blackboard is see how I can already see what my students have been doing. Today is the first day of class, and I can already see what I have to grade. And so with Blackboard, I would just kind of have to figure it out. I have to go to the grade book and I'd have to look for things, but like my little navigation on my dashboard tells me what I have coming up and what I have to grade. And I really enjoy knowing if I'm caught up on my grading or not. So
one of the things can we do, because I want to emphasize for this as far as the notification, can you go back to your notifications, Sarah?
Sure.
So it's under, you click on your account and then you click on notifications. So as you know, Sarah mentioned, there are several icons that are available that are there for you to specify how you want to be notified. So when you look at the checkbox or the check mark at the very top, it says notify me right away. Send daily summary is the clock. Send weekly summary is the calendar. And then the X is do not send anything. For announcements you want to make sure in your notifications that announcement is checked off. So notify me right away. So you want to select the check mark. Submission comments, you want to make sure that's checked off as well. In my last course that I taught for the Introduction to Teaching with Canvas course, I did not have the check mark selected. I had the send daily summary like Sarah has selected now. And that posed a problem for me because when instructors were submitting assignments, they were actually adding comments, asking relevant questions as far as how the assignment was submitted, did I submit it correctly, or further questions about the assignment itself. And those things that I missed. So when you get that notification there, and then also for discussions, for any discussion that you're actually subscribed to, you want to get those instant summaries, those notify me right away, make sure the checkbox is selected there. And then conversations, the conversations, as Sarah mentioned, conversations inbox is going to be the key way to communicate through the duration of this course. Make sure that those notifications for the check mark, notify me right away for those conversations are selected there, because we'll be sending you notifications messages. That's how we're going to be doing all our
Are
communication.
those messages text messages?
Not necessarily. If you go to your settings and you were to add your cell phone, I'm pretty sure when you're in the notification section here that you would decide how you want to get the notification. I personally...
No, I mean, when you send them, are you sending us a typewritten conversation? Or
have
what
you used this conversations inbox, Sarah, on yours? Well, I don't know if you want to share student.
I don't want to share for privacy issues. I don't want to.
Do you want to give me host?
Sure. How do I do that?
View options. So stop sharing screen.
Okay.
Hover over my face. And then there's a 3 dots up in the top right. You can click on that and then say, make me host.
Okay. All right, you're tapped in.
I'm the host now, so let me share my screen. Let me go into a dashboard. Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So when we do when we were talking about when I mentioned the conversations inbox, I'm mentioning in the global navigation, right under the calendar, there's a link here that says inbox. On that inbox, you'll see all the conversations that I've had with past faculty members. The nice thing I like about Canvas in the conversations inbox is any message that you send to your students, it's preserved in Canvas. So I can click on this one for this instructor. This is a whole conversation that I had with a group of people. Also, a copy of that message is also sent to your email box as well as the students. And students can reply. They don't have to reply. They don't have to, if you send out a message to your students, they don't have to log into Canvas to actually reply. They can reply via their email and it will come back into Canvas. So if I click on this one instructor right here, I know that for this conversation that I had with this instructor, I know she replied via her email because of this email header here. And the nice thing I like about Canvas is they're very mindful as far as privacy and FERPA regulations. Anything that's shared through Canvas, your personal email address is not shared with that or with anyone else. So both you and the student, your contact information is protected. So that's how you're going to receive those messages that we send to you. Does that answer your question, Jennifer?
Sort of.
What would you need any clear? What didn't make sense?
The screen.
It doesn't really look like Canvas that you're in, Chris. I think that's what's confusing people.
I'm in the inbox. So, for example, right now you can actually see my dashboard and anything that I wanted to send a message. So if I click on my inbox and I want to send you a message, Jennifer, I can click on the inbox and then I can click on compose new message.
Okay, so nothing's happening. Am I supposed to be seeing things happen? Or are you not clicking, you're just talking?
Okay, so you don't see any. What do you see on your screen right now?
It's frozen, Chris.
Yeah, it looks like it's frozen if you're clicking or pointing.
That's the problem. Cancel. Let me stop share and then reshare.
But when you say the conversation, I think of talking and voicing. So my question was, if you're going to do a conversation to us, it's going to be in written form, correct? It's not a video.
It's just another name for email. I understand why that's confusing, but it's just a name for email.
The lingo that we're using, conversations inbox, that's what Canvas calls it. And so we have the idea. By the way, can you see my screen now?
It's not on Canvas. It doesn't look like it's on Canvas. It looks like it's on your Gmail to me.
Here, I'll show you if my camera will show you. Oh, guess not.
No, it is. I can see it.
But it's not moving.
Oh, I'm sharing the wrong box.
Yeah, you might be doing that.
I'm sharing the wrong screen. Let's try that again. Sorry, we're still new to this. I shared the wrong screen. That's the problem. Now can you see it?
Yes, that looks much better.
My mouse is moving.
There we go. Yep. So that's what it looks like. It's now again, like it will go to your inbox, but that message, if you have the settings set up, will also go to your Grossmont email. And if I go to my Grossmont email and write them back, it will definitely get to them either way. So I think one thing Chris is trying to highlight was by messaging students in the Canvas one, it saves everything. And we might want to be in the habit on our Grossmont one to do things, but Canvas keeps track of everything. And that way, if, 3 months down the road, a student, maybe had a complaint or something, you have like the records and stuff. And
okay, so for example, if your faculty evaluation comes up and they're evaluating your peer and the administrator, the manager is evaluating an online class.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, then, if the question of your interaction with your students comes up, then basically this is a log.
It's perfect. And I was just about to mention that. So in the conversations inbox, if there's a question of, Jennifer, we question whether or not you're contacting your students on a regular basis,
Mm-hmm.
you could go into your Canvas, you could show the evaluator, whoever's reviewing your course, here's a complete log of all the conversations that I've been interacting with all of my students.
Oh, Chris, will you show them how to send a message to everyone in the class? Because there's a cool feature that I like. So like, for instance, maybe I sent an announcement out already, but I want to tell my students, hey, I finished grading your essays and it's like midweek and I don't want to send an announcement per se, I want to send a message. Then if I go to compose new message, compose new message, and then you select the course, so you can do this one if you want, Chris. And then when you go to, you could do an individual student, you can type their name in, or you can do it to everyone in the course. So if you go to that right side, Chris, and you click on it, and it says everybody, or just teachers, or just students. So in this case, maybe Chris would just send it only to all students.
If I wanted to all students, I'd click on the all students button, or if I just wanted to send Jennifer, I could click on Jennifer and she would get the rest.
But look at, if you do all students, you can also check send an individual message to each recipient, and that way everybody gets the same message from you, but when they write you back, it's not threaded. It's like an individual message now. Does that make sense? And that keeps things a little bit easier because you have that one-on-one log with that one student for historical purposes.
And then in your case, Jennifer, if you notice here when the conversations inbox, there's a media button right here. If I click on this media button, and I don't know if this is going to work for the scope of this course because it's trying to access my video camera, so it's not going to work. But you can actually send a signed message to your students as well. If you wanted to send them a video and emphasize the importance of what you're teaching through sign language, you can send that as well through here too.
Okay.
Cool. Well, we're almost at 2:30. So is there any other?
Yeah. Do I have to do anything special to link this with my Grossmont email?
No.
It should be.
Or does it automatically do it? Do I have to do something?
WebAdvisor compatible, like whatever you have in WebAdvisor should automatically be there.
When I enrolled everyone in the course, Lynette, I looked at everyone's accounts, and so Canvas or WebAdvisor, just like with Blackboard, is the controlling database for Canvas. So that's course creations, ads, drops, and then email information. Whatever's in your WebAdvisor account for your attached email address is going to be listed in Canvas. When I enrolled everyone into this course, there was about 5 instructors out of the 24 that are taking this course that didn't have a valid email address in their WebAdvisor account. I've contacted them individually and provided them instructions. So in your case, I don't remember the actual names, but I don't think you were on that list.
No.
And you're fine then. You're
okay,
fine.
thank you.
Receive that information. So since we only have 2 minutes left, if there are any last questions, we'll take those. But again, just make sure, review the Start Here page. You can watch this welcome video. Again, it'll give you you can watch it at your own pace for an orientation on how to navigate the course and how to actually get started. And then the two things that you need to be aware of for the actual course is that by Friday at 11:59 p.m., contribute to the 0.5 introductions, and then complete your course outline. So real quickly with that course outline, what I wanted to show, and to expand, you can expand the assignments here. And to view any attached documents, you can click on the expanded box. You can go as vast. Sarah shared a great example of her outline that she used for her course. But for the scope of this assignment, this is the only basics that I would actually need. Just whatever the actual unit is, week, module, give it a title, and then do what you're actually focused on for this week, and try to adhere to that numbering convention. And then all we need is to save it and submit it via a Word document, and that'll be good for that one. And then the only other thing that you would need to be aware of is that for our face-to-face schedule, our next meeting will be on June 23rd, and we will be talking about Unit 1. I will be out of town that week, so Sarah will be running the show on that one. It's 2:30 right now. If there are any final questions, we will take them. Otherwise, we're going to conclude this meeting. I thank you for joining us, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
6 weeks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
You have a good
Yeah,
night.
thank you very much.
Of course.
And we'll have a recording of this meeting up by no later than tomorrow too, if you want to review it as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great.
Great job, Sarah.
Thanks, Chris. Do you want to chat, decompress, or anything, or are we good?
If you're good, I'm good.
Okay, I feel pretty good.
And I'll send you the outline too for how I want to handle the
Announcements.
Unit 1 and the announcements and stuff like that.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye.